Hi there. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Evolutionary Attunement. Today we're going to be attuning to the statement, I am okay changing. So if you'd like to repeat after me, making that statement, I am okay changing. And we're going to tune into what would be supportive here to help us align more fully with this statement. So it takes us to the heart, it takes us to vulnerability. This concept of our vulnerability in connection. So our vulnerability in connection. So it's feeling this vulnerability of being an individual in connection with other individuals. It's how this is showing up. So this may show up as a specific example for you right now where you're having some vulnerability in a particular dynamic, or it may show up as more of an existential experience of feeling the vulnerability of being this individual with the deep knowing of the interconnectivity of the whole, of the unified field. Can show up a lot of different ways. So we're just tuning into that for a moment. And we're going to work with this directly. So get a sense of this way that you feel some vulnerability as an individual. And actually, I'm doing these with you. And so right now I'm aware that I just started recording these since I've released these videos. So I'd started this process a little while ago of recording these, and this is my second video I've done since I've actually released them and shared them. And so there's some vulnerability I'm feeling as this individual sharing this with you, sharing these gifts. So it can be a way of feeling vulnerable as an individual, sharing ourselves also. It's how it's showing up for me right now. So I'm going to meet that place right now with you as you meet the way that this is showing up for you. So I'm going to invite you to get a sense of that. Again, how you're feeling vulnerable as an individual in whatever way that's showing up for you. When you get a sense of that, I'm going to invite you to touch on your heart center and then put your palm flat on your forehead across these two emotional points. And we're just going to witness this. We're just going to meet this place with so much kindness. So getting a sense of that, and go ahead and put your hands to those points. And then just breathing, just being present with whatever came into your awareness, bringing it to the light of consciousness right now as you're noticing it. A nice full deep breath, and just let the exhale be slightly longer than the inhale. And at some point you may notice this soften or shift in some way in your awareness. If and when that does, you can lower your hands down. Or you can take a few more deep breaths and then lower your hands down. Okay. Then I'm going to invite you to get a sense of that again, whatever the piece was you were just touching into. You were just thinking about as we were doing that. Good. And then I'll have you turn your head to the left. I'm going to turn my head to the right. So you're going to turn, I believe, that way. Good. Then I want you to imagine, if you would, that you're looking me right into my right eye. So we're just going to do a double check, just see if there's anything else here for us to touch in on. And there is something else, so we're going to see what that is right now. So it goes back to the heart, actually, and this is a concept of cloudy thinking. So the way that when that vulnerability can kick in, or that it can kind of cloud our thinking. So we might get nervous, we might feel like I don't know what to do in that situation. On more of, again, a broader collective, it may feel like, how do I make a difference as this individual? Like this cloudy thinking that kind of can immobilize us from actually being who we're here to be. Or actually create paralysis. So you can get a sense of how that is for you, the way that this cloudy thinking can come up. So if I was to work with it with me right now, the cloudy thinking could come up about thoughts about like, is this good enough? So if I'm thinking particularly about sharing these videos, is this good enough? Is this okay? So I might have these thoughts that aren't actually real, but are thought forms that if I'm attaching to those or connecting to those will actually create a subtle paralysis in my system, and could actually be the thing that keeps me from bringing these forward. And it's really clear that I'm to be doing this for whatever reason. So that's an example of how that might show up for you in your life. Okay, so getting a sense of that, the way that that cloudy thinking, that kind of maybe thought looping can show up, limiting you from really bringing your individuation forward, from living as your authentic individuation. Good. When you have a sense of that, you can touch your heart center and touch your forehead. And then just be present with that piece that you just brought to mind. So kindly, being so kind and gentle with any place that cloudy thinking, that looping can come up. Keep you from being your fullest expression of you, your individuation. And at some point you may notice that soften or shift in some way. If and when that does, you can lower your hands down or take a few more deep breaths and then lower your hands down. Okay, and if you'll get a sense of that again, the cloudy thinking, it keeps you from being your full individuated expression, or however that was showing up for you. Good. And turn your head to the left side. I'm going to turn mine to the right. Good. Then imagine that you're looking me right into my right eye. Thank you. Great. So we're going to just recheck the statement, I am okay changing. If you'll say that, I am okay changing. Thank you. And good. Excellent. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really honored to have the opportunity to do this with you. It's also a stretch for me. So we're stretching and evolving ourselves together, which really, in my experience, is the only way. So thank you. Wishing you a beautiful, beautiful day, and may this support you to live more fully as your unique embodied brilliance.